Okay, so welcome everybody today to the Leslie Link YouTube channel. I'm extremely excited to have us today Marta Kirit, and she's here to talk about tips to look after your body after the age of 50 and some other things as well. So I'm really excited, and thank you so much, Marta, for being with us here today. Thank you for coming to the channel. And
thank you.
I know, my pleasure. It'd be great to hear why you eventually or decided to get into health coaching, because I know you've done many different things in your career, and also about what you specialize in. That would be great.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting question. Thanks. First of all, thank you for having me in, even though I'm not a celebrity. I'm not even a celebrity coach. I'm not a celebrity chef, trainer. I'm not even a big influencer. And I think it's because, well, first of all, I'm a mom of two. I also have a full-time job, and wellness coaching is my passion. And I also feel like it's truly authentic to me. My journey with wellness and what I'm going to talk about is something that I have personally experienced, and now I am passing on to other people. And I really strongly believe in it. I'm not very popular because people don't like the fast results, instant gratification. And what I talk about is different. I talk about transformation on the inside and outside. So I always, the website and the acronym I go by, the nickname is MAR, which stands for Mindset, Attitude, Results, because I truly believe that both mindset and attitude are slightly different. Set you up for either failure or for success. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about this today, but what led me to become a wellness coach, few things, long story, but I used to train people. I did grueling fitness programs, and I also helped people with their diets. And what I discovered even during this time was that it takes so much more than just exercise and diet to, first of all, lose weight, but also to be well. And so that was number one. Usually people would, want to shed pounds and start doing things that were very much unsustainable, and then they would crash. In fact, right now we are in March, and our New Year's resolutions, at least in the United States, the top three are weight loss, diet, and exercise. And guess what? By February, 80% of the people are pretty much fell off the wagon. And by the end of the year, 95 or even more % of people will fall off the wagon again. Diets don't work. So, so this is what I've noticed during my fitness training. And also another thing that happened was when I became a mom at an old advanced age, what they call 36 and 37. It was the time when I noticed, like, okay, I don't look the same. I don't want to have a baby and look like a grandma. So I went into the typical, vanity phase in my life. I searched for the miracle in a jar, which does not exist. I remember I've spoken to a lot of specialists that actually work with medical spas. I actually even ended up creating my own skincare brand, Dermatute, which stands for Healthy Skin Attitude. But the mission of Dermatute, now that I'm older, I know better, is to help women embrace aging with, number one, confidence, which oftentimes comes with wisdom and wrinkles. And it's so awesome to have it, the healthy lifestyle. And only then, if you still want to tweak your looks and do something to yourself, fine, be it. But it'll never work if you do it from the outside in. It should always come from the inside out. So I started studying anti-aging. So first with the skincare, but then I started digging deeper and deeper to the cell. And I've realized we're aging from the inside out. So interesting. I've learned so much. I've read like 30 different books on the topic. And then I've mentioned also that I work I also have a full-time job. I'm actually super gracious for the job because my job has helped me understand the whole system. I've worked in medical device, healthcare, pharmaceutical, dental, sleep industry. And I know even more that we need to take our own personal accountability for our health and wellness. And that's where we can make the most impact. 80% or 90%, some people say, of our chronic conditions are actually our lifestyle choices. Choices sometimes we make unknowingly because, there's a lot of fad diets out there and things that kind of like brainwash us. But yes, so that's my goal, is to first of all raise awareness about looking at wellness differently. And then if anybody is interested to work with me, then they can reach out to me for a free consultation. I usually assess where they are in a wellness journey, because I've gone this road. I've been on this road of the diet, the exercise. When I was in my 20s or 30s, I think I looked worse than I did, even though I was a fitness trainer. I worked out 10 times more than I do right now. Bottom line, feeling good, feeling well is not as hard if you have the right mindset, right attitude, and guidance and knowledge. So that's my story. Wow. Sorry for chopping your head.
No, absolutely fascinating. And I love the fact that, as you say, you've had such an interesting career doing so many different things and all the different types of information that you've picked up along the way. And you're now sort of pooling it all together. And this is perfect. And as you say, there's so many people doing the same things out there. We're told to do this, we're told to do that. And the very important point I took from what you said there is how it all sort of works from inside of ourselves. And I think that's very important. And I mentioned to you before our interview today that I'm going to be 50 in July this year. And I sort of relate quite, highly with what you're saying, is the fact that as you get older, you realize that a lot of these things you thought were important in your earlier years, in your 20s or whatever, they're not as important. And I think when you realize that and you have a different mindset, you can see things completely different. So I love your approach, Marta. It's completely refreshing and very different to what people are doing out there. Just going back to the interview today, as you're probably aware, the Leslie Link, I write about health, time management, and also motivation. And in terms of health, I touch on the physical and mental health. In your sort of studies and also in your career so far, after the age of 50, what would you say is the connections that are happening between the body and the brain, and how does that affect your overall sort of life and your mindset?
Oh, bye. Well, that's a good question. So, well, there's definitely a connection. Like I said, I started with the mindset, and the mindset, there's, in my opinion, there's two different mindsets that I can talk about. The one is the diet mindset, the bad mindset, the one that leads people to, yo-yo dieting, the obsession, and it also messes with our brain. Our food and nourishments that we give to our body has a huge connection with our brain neurons, the BDNFs and other things. So that's the one mindset. The other mindset is the health and wellness mindset. So that's actually, this is the number one tip I always give people. Stop focusing on the diet and focus on health and wellness. If you want to age better, look better, think better, because sleep better, and function better. So focus on that. With that being said, at this time, you want to make sure if somebody is in their 50s or their 40s and they're still thinking about, weight loss, and that's where their mind is, and having that dream body, I always tell them, listen, this ship has already sailed. Be realistic, okay? You're right now in your 40s and 50s. This is the time, the 60s and even 70s, because it's never too late to make a difference. This is the time when people should think health and wellness first. Truth is that 75% of people over the age of 40 are actually in the United States on at least one medication. 88% of adults in the United States have one metabolic syndrome. The interesting thing about women in the age of 40 and 65, 65 of them are actually obese. 75% of women 65 and over in the United States are obese as well. Majority of our population, at least in this country, but I know that it's also spreading all over other countries in the world, are also obese and unhealthy. So we have so many of these diets, and so people exercise more than ever, yet we're getting sicker and fatter. So what's the answer? Think health and wellness first. Undiet yourself. That's what I want to say. Undiet your mind, and then undiet your body. And once this is your transformation foundation to start like this, so you're going to be heading the right direction. And when you are in the 50s, this is the best time for you to do that, to finally start taking care of yourself. Because I have 2 young kids. I'm 44. I'm going to be in my 50s, and this is going to be my me time. Finally, I'm going to be able to focus on myself and make a difference. Yeah. And do you know what I mean? So that's how I see this connection. You want to have the healthy body will follow the healthy mind, healthy mindset.
I love that. And the word I take from that is undiet. So undiet yourself, like you said. Yeah, it's a good word, undiet. And you don't hear it, do you? You really don't hear it.
You always hear about diets.
Yeah, diet.
I read an article about 38 different diets last week.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? And Leslie, diet has this very negative connotation. It's about the deprivation, and it's about restricting your body. And I am all about the abundance. Give your body what it needs. Give your brain what it needs. Give the nourish it, because it really, really needs it. So when you come from the mindset of abundance instead of the restriction and diet, it makes a whole big difference.
Absolutely. And we're just going to ask you if you could give us, I think you've already sort of touched on maybe 1 or 2 there, but your 5 top tips you would say to help people with their body after the age of 50.
Yeah, so I could write a book about it. In fact, I'm actually writing a workbook. It's a 15-long transformation on how to create your wellness. But I am so busy that I always joke, when I retire, I'm gonna go into wellness full time. And but it's going there. But so again, I'm gonna give you a few tips. But as I said, mindset is right. Have the right attitude. And what that means, I've actually met 2 different types of people. And the number 1 group of people is like, okay, well, I'm in my 50s. I am fat, ugly. My mom was 65 when she died. My dad was 63 when he died. If I'm going to live till I'm 65, I'm going to be lucky enough. So all they do is complain. And go to their doctors, get the prescriptions that the doctor gives them. And that is their understanding of, their almost like their faith. They feel that genetics is, is the only thing that matters. And it's not true, because we have the whole studies right now of epigenetics that we can turn the genes on and off. And again, 80%, or some people even think 90% of not only how long we live, but how we live. Because you can live till 90 and be on drugs in a wheelchair and, you know, walker. That's not necessarily a quality of life, but, you know, it's about how you live. So that's the one mindset, one attitude. And the other one, let's say, is like, all right, I'm going to get in shape like ASAP. I'm going to lose 50 pounds for my high school reunion. And when I hear people say this, I'm like, slow down, you know, you need to think long term. And that's kind of, you don't want to be in either camp, this one or this one. You want to relax. You want to get to know your body, which is my next step. Very important. Just like we differ on the outside, we also differ on the inside. And when people rush into diets and exercise so fast and pick up whatever thing, oh my gosh, my friend lost 50 pounds on keto diet. Yeah. And, you know, my friend signed up for this boot camps and now he, you know, he's lost so much weight. Whatever fits this person's body, lifestyle will not necessarily fit yours. So what I always actually ask people to do when I first work with them is take some time. I actually have them do homework for me before I even take them as a client and kind of learn about yourself. I ask people to have a log where they would write what they eat. And I don't care about calories, by the way. Like, this is the last thing I care about. I know 100% once you stop caring about this and focus on health and wellness, your body will come into balance. You will lose weight without even thinking about it. And it's going to be so easy. So I tell them what you eat, how often, when, because in the United States, especially, people never ever give their digestive system a break. They eat 15 hours out of a year. And I always tell people, like, give yourself at least a 12-hour break. It's going to be very healthy for your digestion and a few other things. I also ask people why they eat, because it's important. Like, we come with a baggage. Do we eat because we are hungry? Do we eat because we are bored? Do we eat because we are having emotional issues? We are stressed. 75% people who deal with issues with weight are emotional eaters. Do we eat because we are constantly hungry and hangry and angry? Because food has a connection to our energy level, to our mood, and everything else. So get to know yourself. Also, what stresses you out, how well you sleep, how is your poop? Because that's so important. Some people think it's okay. Some people think it's okay to go to the bathroom once every 3 days. No, it's not okay. So if that is your issue, you have a problem in your microbiome. And this is actually when in Ayurvedic medicine, Leslie, in our Western medicine, Ayurveda says that all the diseases, Leslie, have 6 different stages. So stage 1 starts in our gut, in our stomach. So when something's wrong there, you know, watch out. You better pay attention to it because it can turn to something different. And, you know, our Western medicine doesn't recognize diseases until it's stage 4 or 5. And I mean, so get to know your body.
Yeah.
Another thing, you can also speak to your physician, doctor. Use that insurance that you have. Go and visit him and ask them to check your metabolic fitness. Not only your how fast you run, how long you run, and the outside fitness, but your internal fitness. So get everything you can paid by the insurance.
Yeah.
In the US. And then also run other labs. That's what I sometimes recommend, because in Western medicine, people don't really understand the gut connection to our health, overall health. You know, the toxic levels, I've experienced that. I was healthy, I ate healthy, I did everything else, yet I was full of lead. So so that's learning about your body. So that's another tip. I can go on and on, about those tips because I'm very passionate about it.
I know you are. I can tell. I can feel it and sense it, and it's really, really good. And I think you might have given us about even 6 or 7 tips there, which are all fantastic tips. And what I picked up from there, well, apart from all of it, was the fact about not calorie counting. I mean, how many people do you hear they're always calorie? I have to have, no more than this and this amount, and looking at everything they're eating, on the packaging and what have you. And I think that, like you say, is definitely a complete different mindset of just forget about the calories and start thinking about what's going on inside your body first,
Absolutely.
And you mentioned also going to see your doctor. I think that's really good because I guess as many times people just go and see the doctor when they're ill, but yeah, you can go and see the doctor to find out more about your body, and that's fascinating, very insightful. Yeah, very insightful.
And you have to always know yourself as well, and oftentimes because you also want to take preventative care in your own hands. Like in our system here in the United States, the insurance will only pay so much. The doctors are overwhelmed. They see 30 patients a day.
Yeah.
They can't, they don't have that much time to spend with you. Also, the insurance will not pay for whatever they should be paying until you're pretty much sick and you're like, as I mentioned in the Ayurvedic medicine, you're symptomatic and you have, tumors or you're, have other symptoms that can be coded in our ICD coding here in the United States. There's 155,000 ICD coding that are names for the diseases based on the symptoms and their geographic location. But before then, there's many other things happening in your body, and you yourself need to get to know your body and become really aware and intuitive about what's going on, because you need to help this doctor. He won't have that much time with you. So you have to tell him, this is what you want to get tested. Will my insurance pay for it? If not, you might want to go and use your own private different testing centers to test for what I believe is incredibly important.
Absolutely. And I think you've touched on a few of them, but could you just sort of explain a little bit more about the services that you offer to people that are sort of interested in improving their health? And do you have a specific service for somebody, say, who's over 50 or who's over 60?
Yeah, so majority of the clients that I work with, they're in their 50s or 60s and 40s, I'd say. Yeah. 20-year-old and the 30-year-olds are not necessarily interested in me because, our body is looking and feeling good. It's like, driving a brand new car, and then, you don't really have to maintain it that well. Yeah. And then, once you become older, things are just breaking down, like in the older car. So people are starting to noticing. Most people will come to me because they can't lose weight. Yeah. And they're like, okay, expecting me to give them diet. I'm like, no, let's get to know your body. Let's see what the issue is. And sometimes it's really hard to get to the root cause of what the issue is. So what I do with people, like, first of all, I'm listening to what they want. If it's weight loss, I'm trying to explain to them it's not going to be that easy. And I often explain to them why. If you have been especially yo-yo dieting your entire life, okay, you not only shut down your metabolism and decrease your metabolic rate, but you are also messing up with your inner thermostat in your body. Yeah. So what that means is your hormones are out of whack. Again, like I mentioned, you have probably a raging fire in your body from inflammation of eating bad foods. And then you also have maybe the gut issues. There's people that can't lose weight because their gut is sick. Yeah. And so I'm trying to get to the core by looking at what they eat, what their lifestyle is. And then, sometimes people are doing well, so I'll just have to optimize it. But other times people will need their entire transformation. And the way I work, Leslie, so first of all, I'll never say that I am a doctor. I am actually studying to become a holistic health practitioner, but I will never tell anybody, don't go to the doctor. I'm going to be your doctor.
Yeah.
I sometimes actually send people to the doctors, and best thing is to actually have a coach to work with a doctor, because doctors, as I mentioned, they're overwhelmed. Number one. And even if you are going to a functional medicine doctor, they'll give you a little bit more time. They're still gonna give you a prescription. But change is not as simple. Like, I can give you information, but it's not that easy to change your habits that have been with you on autopilot for so long. So that's where the coach comes in. I help people change step by step by building new habits, and that's what I do. And some of the things that I do with people, how do I work? Definitely, I help them personalize their diet. So I always, food is information. So what type of information does your body need? And so, and that alone, sometimes when I start with people and they're on this standard American diet, everything they eat is wrong. I don't expect them to change and go on keto diet.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor will do. Hey, yes, you want to eat this, you go on a keto diet or do this. It's not going to happen. It'll last 2 weeks, 2 months. So I'll tell people, now let's start by adding the good things and taking out the bad things. And, initially 90% of the stuff that they eat is maybe unhealthy, 10% is healthy, but then it changes to the point where they're at this point of 80% healthy, 20% unhealthy, or 90% healthy and 10% unhealthy, which is where you want to be ultimately. But it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. So that's number one. Other thing I do, exercise. There's a lady, she's overweight. I want to scream at her. She runs in front of my window daily. Been doing it almost for 2 weeks. And I want to tell her, woman, stop. You're killing yourself. It's not really even healthy. You definitely want to make sure that women understand the importance of strength training or resistance training. And if you think you don't like going to the gym because you're embarrassed, you don't know what to do, number one, you can hire a fitness trainer if you want. I always recommend hire somebody for 2 or 3 sessions so they can help you perform the exercises. I don't go with the people to the gym, but I will write them a prescriptions for exercise, tell them what exercises to do. I am also a huge believer in body weight training, body resistance training. This is what I do. But the number one thing you need to do, stop killing yourself with the chronic cardio and focus more on resistance and strength training. So that's another thing that I do with people.
Okay, fascinating.
Few other things, and that's what you can do. Well, I also introduce people to fasting, but that's also a lot of people do it so wrong. They think, all right, they read something, all right, I'm going to go fast 24 hours. And I talk about fasting on my Facebook sometimes, or I've made few videos, but I always tell people, do not jump into fasting unprepared mentally and physically, because you are going to have a miserable experience. It's not going to be healthy for you. If somebody's on a standard American diet, all they eat is crap, and then they put that in, go 24 hours without food, what's going to happen? They will have headaches. They will feel nauseous. They might be hypoglycemic. They'll feel horrible. And then what will happen? The first thing they will do when the 24 hours is over, they're going to try and woof something unhealthy. And you want to prepare yourself to fast mentally and physically. And small tip, start with not eating for 12 hours a day. Everybody can do it. It's healthy. Studies show, actually, I've read a study, I don't remember where I found it, but it was a long study on women for over 50, how beneficial fasting is, and they couldn't find any side effects to fasting.
Excellent,
It helps yeah, it helps not only with weight and your visceral fat, the unhealthy fat, but also with your hormones. It helps you prevent your chronic conditions, your diabetes, your number one, cause of death in the United States, at least heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and also it helps you with mental clarity, gives you confidence.
Yeah.
And when I fast, it's like my meditation, because I'm not a meditator. I don't meditate. And that's another thing, find your own way to de-stress yourself. You don't need to do yoga. You don't need to do meditation if you can't. But find something different that'll relax you. And so that's it. Food, exercise, fasting, de-stressing yourself. When your kids are grown, when you probably don't even have to take care of your husband, or when you have already you have more time for yourself, you'll have more time for self-care. But even as busy as I am like right now, Leslie, having 2 kids, full-time job, doing wellness on the side, and many other things, I always make sure that I'll find some time for self-care every day. And Sunday is always my self-care day. So I have my own ritual. Come up with it. I look forward to it.
Excellent. Oh, you're doing so many things, and it's very inspiring, Marta. And as you said about the fasting, starting off just with 12 hours, and I agree with you. Anybody can do that. I mean, let's say, for example, you don't eat, you stop eating, let's say 8 o'clock at night, and then don't eat anything until say 8 the next morning, or later, even maybe a little bit. So yeah, everybody can do that. But as you said, going hardcore, going full on 24 hours fasting when you've never done it before, the body's going to be like, what on earth is going on? So yeah, it's like you say, it's taking lots of little steps slowly. Something's not going to happen overnight. Yeah, and all the things that you're doing here, is there something that you would say is unique that you do with your coaching, that you would say is completely different to everybody else out there?
Yes, pretty much everything. Coach and every trainer I've heard tells people what they want to hear, and I am in a position where I can actually tell people what I know is true, because I'm not desperate for clients. Like, I will only work with a certain amount of people, which is great because I have a full-time job. So if somebody reaches out to me because they like what I have to say, or they have been dieting their entire life and finally they're like, no, I'm done and I need to change, they will come to me. But yeah, I mean, this is one thing I tell people, like, sorry, but once I have a conversation with them, because I've worked with people that in 3 months you could see a huge difference, not only in the way how they feel, but look, and like how their body looks, how the energy level, you can see their skin being radiant. But those were people that were already in the right mindset and they had the right attitude, and they just came in to ask me for some guidance.
Yeah.
So that didn't take so long. But many people, I tell them, listen, you're going to need a 52-week long transformation. So a lot of times I lose people at hello because they don't want to get it. I'm just going to go and get another, I'm going to start keto right now. But you know what? I already had people coming back to me because they already learned their lesson. So they're right now working with me. And then, so that's different. And the one thing I did not mention, I'm a huge believer of, when I mentioned stress, our body does not recognize the emotional and mental stress and the chemical stress. The one, there's about 80,000 different chemicals in the air, in the products we use, in the stuff we inhale, in the things we eat, and that gets filtered by our liver. Our liver, when it gets overflown with all these chemicals, it's all of a sudden doesn't know what to do with it. And spills all over at some point. That's where we're actually getting sick.
Yeah.
So nobody ever wants to hear about, you know, watch out for the toxins in your food, the herbicides, the pesticides. Don't eat the genetically modified foods. Be careful what you put on your skin. This is how I started my journey to understanding toxins. Stemmed from me looking at the ingredients on the skincare that I was putting on and spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on, which is why I started the Dermatid brand, healthy skincare, non-toxic. But also, like, be mindful of this because it will catch up with you. And our body gets sick when it's not, when it doesn't have the nutrients it needs.
Yeah.
And also when it's deficient, but it's also when it's overflown with toxins.
Wow.
So pay attention to that. I know you don't want to hear about it because we cannot see toxins in our body, but you will see them, you will feel them, especially now in your 50s, 60s, when things just come out to the surface.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
No, it makes sense. Sadly, it makes sense. Yeah. And do you have a specific customer success story that you could share with us? Obviously, you know, you don't need to mention any names.
Yes.
That you'd like to share with us that, you know, you're very proud of and something where you really, really helped somebody.
Yeah, I mean, so I do have quite a few stories to share, and they're all different, Leslie.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've worked with a gentleman for 3 months who needed to just kind of some guidance. And when I saw him 3 months later, because I usually, if a person is local, I'll meet them, and then we're doing things over the phone or online. I literally couldn't believe what I saw because he followed my fitness program. He followed my nutrition. His skin was like radiating. Usually you don't see it in men. Yeah. And I mean, he's lost, I believe, 9 pounds in 3 months, which is perfect. Yeah. That's one you want to do, but he also gained muscle. Currently, I'm also working with a couple ladies who are actually in their 60s. They started out on a standard American diet. Everything they were doing was feeding the disease and poisoning their body. And I've been working with them for 5 and 6 months. And, you know, they're losing weight, but their mindset is right. They understand. That's, to me, a huge success. Because the hardest thing to do, Leslie, is to change the mindset. So that is, to me, a big success story. I'm actually working right now with another girl. This is interesting. That's not a success story yet, but I'm only mentioning this is because she has the motivation. She has the discipline. We're trying to figure out what's going on with her body, with her microbiome, with her gut. And it's not easy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I'm, like, I hate to mention names. Hey, this person's lost 50 pounds with me. No, I've also helped somebody gain weight.
Yeah, which is an important point. Yeah, people forget this as well. There's many people out there who want to gain weight. It's not always about losing weight. Yeah, exactly.
And build muscle, because that's very important. A lot of people, there's not a big amount of people, more people are overweight, but there's also a percentage of people that are skinny fat.
Yeah,
they don't have muscle. They're like skinny because they eat rice cakes but no nutrients. Yeah. Or like, you know, a piece of candy here and there, but they're skinny and unhealthy. So that's a lot of work also with them. So I've helped persons not only gain weight but also the healthy weight, because it's one thing to gain weight from eating junk. You can do it really fast, and that's what celebrities do. When they want to gain 20 pounds to play their role, eat donuts, chocolate, blah, blah, blah. And also, by the way, this is when it's easy for someone to lose weight also, if you've only been temporarily overweight. Because your body is not out of balance or the thermostat is not messed up. You're still quite healthy. So that's where the calorie restrictions will help.
Right.
But not if you've been dealing with weight problems your entire life. So so that's my success story, helping somebody gain the healthy muscle. because like they didn't understand, Leslie, that, oh, right now I just gained some weight. I'm going to have to, turn it into muscle. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Fat is a completely different structure than muscle. You can't do that. Turn your fat into muscle. People don't get it. So that's a few.
Well, thank you very much for explaining more about some of your clients and some of the stories of it's always great for people to hear about real life happenings and what's going on out there, especially when you're actually making steps to try and do something completely different out there, which I really appreciate. And as you probably know, the Leslie Link, our tagline is think differently and grow. So I think it's fascinating what you're doing. Absolutely love it. We've actually come to the end of the interview now. Before we go, it'd just be wonderful if you could explain how people can get hold of you. You mentioned you have a Facebook page, and maybe you could tell us about the Facebook page and also your website and maybe an email address perhaps as well.
So the easiest way to find me is to go to my website, which is mindsetattituderesults.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can just find my name, Marta Kirit. Send me a message. I can add you to my Facebook group or Facebook page. I don't do Instagram. I am not a marketing person. Like, I don't have time for it.
No, I don't think so.
If somebody wants to find me and if they kind of like what I say, I will give my heart, my time, my passion to help them. And so that's pretty much how you can find me or touch base with you and you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna also, I'll also put on the YouTube video at the bottom, we'll put some links so people can get hold of you that way. And I just want to thank you for your time once again. It's been lovely getting to know you, and we've been sort of in contact for a while now, so it was best, it's fantastic to finally meet and have this interview today. So thank you so much.
I love your YouTube channel and your posts and your interesting articles, and I love that tree you have in the background, which is the reason why I got mine. I love it. So very nice. I love your energy as well. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Marta. Thanks very much. Take care.